Once upon a time, in a quiet little meadow, there lived a bumblebee named Mr. Bumblebee. Now, Mr. Bumblebee was not your average, everyday bee. He had a knack for getting into the silliest situations, much to the amusement of his fellow insect friends. One sunny morning, Mr. Bumblebee decided to try something daring. He had heard that humans had created something called a picnic, and he was determined to find out what all the buzz was about. He fluttered over to a nearby park where he saw a family setting up a picnic blanket with a delicious spread of sandwiches, fruits, and sweets. Mr. Bumblebee, not one to be shy, landed on a sandwich and took a big bite. But instead of enjoying the taste, he ended up with his tongue stuck to the peanut butter. His eyes widened, and he began buzzing around frantically with his tongue hanging out, much to the family's surprise. The family watched in astonishment as Mr. Bumblebee zigzagged through the air, his tongue flapping like a flag in the wind. The kids couldn't help but burst into laughter, and soon even the adults were chuckling. Mr. Bumblebee finally managed to free his tongue and landed on a slice of watermelon. He couldn't resist taking a juicy bite, but this time he found himself wearing the watermelon rind as a helmet. He zipped around the picnic blanket with the rind on his head, looking like a tiny, flying watermelon warrior. The children laughed so hard that tears rolled down their cheeks. Even the grumpy old man who had been reading his newspaper couldn't help but crack a smile. Mr. Bumblebee, determined to impress, decided to take a leap onto a soda can to enjoy a refreshing drink. However, his tiny bee legs slipped on the condensation, and he ended up doing an unexpected backward somersault, tumbling into the soda can head first. He emerged from the can, completely drenched and fizzy, resembling a tiny winged soda pop. By now, the entire park was in stitches. People were rolling on the grass, laughing so hard they could hardly breathe. Mr. Bumblebee, not one to be embarrassed, joined in on the laughter as he buzzed around, creating a frothy trail behind him. As the sun began to set, Mr. Bumblebee decided it was time to bid his new human friends farewell. He took off into the evening sky, leaving behind a park full of smiling, giggling people. From that day forward, the park became known as the Bumbling Bee Picnic Park, a place where laughter and joy were always in abundance, thanks to the hilariously clumsy antics of Mr. Bumblebee. And every time someone mentioned a picnic, people couldn't help but chuckle, remembering the bee who had turned a simple meal into a side-splitting comedy show.